In all seriousness, no, yeah. Hold on. We're live right now, by the way. So I'm going to go.
Oh, I was about to talk mad shit on some people.
There. I put the new link down, so hopefully people find it. Testing. Hold on. Let me get the new chat up.
Is it a new link entirely?
Yes.
On YouTube? Okay.
Let me just get the new chat up because I think we're still have the old chat on the screen. So people are still in the other chat, like talking.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. All right. I just, I got the new chat up. Test. There we go. All right. So let's get back. So on this one, I'm going to tail toast on this Orioles bet. Yeah.
No.
You can't see me?
No. I just assumed that you were going to fix that.
Oh, hold on. 1 second. I probably can fix it right now.
I see him on the stream. I just can't see him on. There we go.
Good. All right, cool. So, yeah, let's go into. I'm going to tail this Orioles bet. I got nothing. I got nothing so far, so I'll down to jump on that. If anyone knows anything about Intel and their fix, reach out to me because apparently they're not recalling the card. I bought the 13th generation processor in the new machine, and apparently everyone who bought that is having problems, but they're not recalling or issuing the fix till mid-August. If anyone has any more information on that, reach out to me privately. Anyway, Marlins at Braves.
Oh, man. Shout out Braves. Shout out Chop Chop. Just back-to-back days, just getting the job done. Not going to hear me say that very often.
So you're a Braves guy now?
You know, I'm a Braves guy type of guy. You know what I'm saying?
You're a Braves guy.
Situation, yeah. So I really want to bet the Braves here again. I'm not going to because they're coming home from a road trip where they played the Mets for 4 games and Milwaukee. A really, really important part of their schedule as well. And I don't really trust Charlie Morton, but I will say this. He has back-to-back terrible starts against Miami, both of those on the road. The previous 3 times he had faced Miami, keep in mind, this is Miami when they actually had guys like De La Cruz and stuff like that. He has really dominated them. His last start at home last year, 5 2/3, no runs. The issue, and Charlie Morton only went 2 2/3 his last start. He got absolutely demolished by the Mets. So you're probably going to get a fresh and pissed off Charlie Morton. The issue is, for me at least, is that Atlanta bullpen, Iglesias back-to-back nights, Jimenez back-to-back nights. So now you're looking at like maybe 5 or 6 from Charlie. If you get 6 full from Charlie tonight, that's probably a lot. And then you're looking at like Bummer, Minter, and then a combination of Dylan Lee and Luke Jackson. Miami's been fighting, but yeah, I mean, their bullpen is a little bit used up as well. It's Braves -1.5 for pass. I don't know if I actually bet it because they are the home team. And I don't really know if I want to trust Charlie Morton like that. But yeah, that's where I'm at. Sorry.
Are they still are the Braves still, have they been hitting?
Yes. And they're starting to come around as well.
What about the Marlins bats? Are they cooling back off yet?
They put up 6 yesterday against Taj Bradley, and I don't understand how. Well, not just him, but maybe it was just him. But regardless, they made Taj Bradley look terrible, and he has been running through everybody. But besides that, before that, they weren't really doing much. They had a couple really good games against Milwaukee and Baltimore, but yeah, it's just really keep in mind though, that was Miami. They had multiple guys. I mean, they had other guys. The only person in that lineup right now that's producing is Jake Berger. Very, very hot. But besides that, I guess maybe you'll get a little bit of a bump with Stowers in the lineup now. I mean, that's just like that's a lot.
Someone saying in the comments I should get a MacBook. Dude, my machine has 128 gigs of RAM. I don't think that's available in a MacBook. It's custom built. This guy Sean Morrow in the comments seems to know. And apparently that's a thing. I'm hoping he has some more information on what to do. Because even the guy who built it for me was like, you might just be fucked until mid-August. Either that or just have a new machine built, which honestly, I'm considering adding another full-time person anyway, so I could use another machine. But the shit's expensive. Anyway, Modi.
Yeah, another dong. A reminder that I put all these in a round robin. So I end up like today I have like 0.75 units risk total on all these home runs. Just to be clear on that. I went super square again. I took Ozuna. It's mostly just because the pitcher. Granted, it's a tiny sample size. Don't want to put too much into it, but in 21 innings this year, Max Mayer, Michael Mayer plays football. He has a barrel rate of 13.8%. And then last year, or his last time in the MLB, which was 2 years ago, granted a tiny sample size, allowed a barrel rate of 16.7%. And then Ozuna on fire the month of July, he hit 10 home runs. Incredible ISO rate, 33.3%, barrel rate of 18.2%. And he's got the fifth best barrel rate in the MLB. So going up against a pitcher that allows a high barrel is not great. And Max Mayer throws a slider 45% of the time. That's Ozuna's best pitch that he hits for the best power. Just looking at ISO rate, 39.4% ISO rate specifically against sliders. And then he also throws a fastball about 40% of the time, which is the second most common pitch, which also takes up like 85% of his pitching arsenal. And Ozuna crushes fastballs. So like yesterday, nobody over 18 or nobody that had more than 18 home runs hit one yesterday, which feels like today is just going to be all chalk. That's kind of why, I mean, that's not like all my analysis, but I do think that today's going to be a chalk day just based on like guys not hitting yesterday. And Ozuna's one of the guys that I have.
Cool.
Also, did you notice the last 2 days overs are like 24 and 7 or something crazy like that? I don't know the exact number, but it's been ridiculous.
Yeah, some of the games have been crazy. Like that one Diamondbacks, like 11 runs in the second inning.
Yeah.
All right. There is a lot of people betting the Marlins here. 39%, 48%. Braves won the poll, but it's close. So a lot of people are taking the Marlins at plus 170. Kind of a popular dog here.
I really want to see, and I'm not even talking shit, like I really want to see what the Braves look like in this series. Like if they can come out and their bats are hot and dominate, like maybe they can go on a run. Like because they still have pieces. So we'll see.
All right, next up, Cardinals, minus 105, Cubs, minus 115. All right. Cardinals, Cubs. Showed us on the mound. Cubs coming off a 13-run performance. Wish I bet that Cubs team total over at plus money. I liked it. Didn't bet it. Could have used the win last night, too. The Cubs bats stay hot here. I mean, Sonny Gray on the road. That is, if you're going to fade Sonny Gray on the road's probably the time to do it. What do you think?
It's Cubs or pass for me. I really, really want to bet the Cubs. I understand that St. Louis is, I guess you can say, starting to heat up a little bit against left-handed pitching, but I don't really know how much I believe that. They got to Bradford and Heaney. It doesn't really do much for me. And then they took advantage of Mackenzie Gore and DJ Hertz, who had been before the Arizona start. Mackenzie Gore had been getting absolutely throttled by everybody. I honestly feel like Sonny Gray on the road, like Kyle just said, has been a fade. And Kyle, to be honest, Sonny Gray hasn't looked good in his last 7 starts. He looked decent against the Giants, and he was subpar, I guess, against a bad Miami team. But besides that, Cincinnati, the Nationals, the Cubs hit him for 3 runs. Atlanta hit him for 5. Washington hit him for 5. And that was at home where he's supposed to be much better. I've never really been a Sonny Gray guy. I haven't. And I just feel like the Cubs have a pretty significant starting pitching advantage, especially with the lefty on the mound. And then when you get to the bullpens, I mean, the Cubs bullpen has been absolutely fantastic at home this year, in the whole year, and over the last 14 and 30 days. They're a top 5 bullpen as well. And the Cardinals aren't hitting against bullpens either. So again, the Cardinals bullpen has been really good as well. But Cardinals versus left-handed pitching is not really the spot that I'm trying to bet them against. I think that they got a couple really, really big wins against a bad Texas team. Not that the Cubs are very good at all, but I think this line kind of says a lot with the Cubs minus 115 around there. So I'm probably going to make a small bet on the Cubs.
Morai?
Yeah, Wilson Contreras, Dong.
Yeah.
Part of this was just looking at the odds, and I think they might have changed over the course of the day, but what I was looking at was like FanDuel priced it at plus 330, and every other book was below plus 300, which makes me think that the books are super high on him to hit a home run. So a lot of it was just line shopping. And I love Imanaga. Like, I think he's awesome. He's got the 8th best swinging strike rate, but when batters make contact, they hit it hard and they put it in the air. He allows a barrel rate of 9.2%, which is the 16th highest, and really like the fifth highest launch angle at 20.1 degrees and a fly ball rate of 49.5%, which is the second highest. Again, that's only when batters make contact. So swings and misses don't count for that. So when they make contact, they put it in the air. And I like Contreras. He's having a good year, better against left-handed pitching, ISO rate 27.5%. And across the board, his numbers are better against lefties, like slugging, OPS, WOBA, all better against lefties. He just went back-to-back on the 27th and the 28th. And he hasn't hit one since, but he hit a double yesterday, so he has been hitting for power. Pitch mix it kind of lines up. It's a little bit hit or miss, depending on like half the pitches he hits well against Igmanaga, half the ones he doesn't. So it's not like a perfect lineup of pitch mix. But I thought looking at Contreras mostly just based on the odds, thought the books were kind of telling us something. So that's part of the reason why I took him today. It was just line shopping.
All right, cool. Well, Contreras, homer. Let's move on to the next one. Final baseball game. Rockies, Angels, Feltner versus Fulmer. Couple of aces on the mound here. What a shitty day. I mean, it's not just that there's only 5 games and a few of them suck, but it's also that I just had a horrible night last night, and the last 2 weeks. And the last 2 weeks as a whole have been frustrating. I mean, there's a few nice days in there, but as a whole, the last 2 weeks have been rough for me. So it's like not even my confidence level isn't even very high, and it's a shitty day with shitty games. Just I was really struggling.
Yeah. I would. It's Rockies or pass for me. The Rockies won last night. I just don't feel like either one of these teams should be favored against the other one. I mean, and to be honest, Ryan Feltner on the road hasn't been that bad. I mean, his last 4 starts, the only team that hit him up was the Grimace Mets. Besides that, he went on the road and went 7 innings, 2 runs. In Cincinnati, he went 6 innings, 2 earned runs in Houston. His last start on the road was against San Francisco. He went 6 innings and 1 run. So I don't have a reason to believe that Ryan Feltner doesn't pitch well here today. Colorado did use Vondick and Kinley last night. That's their 2 guys. But, I mean, yeah, it's Rockies or pass. The Angels are absolutely terrible. You never know what you're going to get from them. They can score 10 runs one night, 1 run one night. I think Feltner should pitch well. I understand that he's 1 in 10 on the year. But
he had a nice little stretch there. He was pitching well, especially away from Coors Field. I can get with that.
On top of that, Carson Fulmer is not going to go deep into this game, and the Angels bullpen is not something that I trust now, especially now that Estevez is gone. They saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys. The Rockies saw 5 guys out of that bullpen last night. So still Ben Joyce and Strickland are their top 2 guys, but besides that, they saw essentially everybody else. So I honestly feel like the Rockies have the advantage essentially everywhere in this ballgame.
I think I'm going to tell your Baltimore bet. I don't know about this one.
I'm probably not even going to bet the Rockies.
Appreciate the kind words in the comments. Yeah, obviously it'll turn around. It wasn't so much like, things have been shitty the last couple of weeks. It was like that in combination of tonight's slate is so where it's like, I don't even want to try to force something. I think I'm down to bet Baltimore, though. Modi, there's a couple fellow Pokemon fans in the comments showing your support. It's a very niche audience that Modi's located here.
It's been very hit or miss. There's some people just roasting me, and then some people being like, no, let's stop that. And I'm like, no, please. I think it's hilarious. All the roasting, the better. I appreciate it. I took Brenton Doyle to hit a home run. People are going to say that he hit one yesterday, and why would you take him to, like, don't back someone to take him hit a home run 2 days in a row. He's done that twice this month. He did it on July 1st and July 2nd. And July 1st, he hit 2 home runs, and then he still hit another one on the 2nd. And then he did it the game right before and then the game after the All-Star break. So technically it wasn't back-to-back days, but it was 2 straight games. And he's been great. He's tied the league leader in home runs in the month of July with 11. He's got 7 doubles. So his ISO rate, like power numbers, are just phenomenal across the board. And Fulmer pitched like 57 innings. So it's not a massive sample size, but it's not nothing. And he's been hit pretty hard. And Doyle's been on fire. Wind blowing out of the park at Angel Stadium too. I like backing Doyle, like plus 525. I feel like that's too high for him, because he's just like plays for the Rockies. No one really knows who he is because they're terrible. But he's been on fire. I like the matchup he has. So yeah, I went with Brenton Doyle.
All right.
Yeah, and if you really quickly, because I know you guys are going to go to football, if you don't want to play the Rockies like on the money line, you could play like a team total or something like that, because it is 80 degrees with the, he said, the wind blowing out. So it's really, really good weather. We should see some runs here tonight. But
why does everyone always say you're short, Modi?
I don't get that.
Modi's 6 foot.
I am on the dot. On the dot. I will get measured on a live stream to prove it.
Yeah, but
nobody believes it. If you say you're 6 feet, nobody believes you.
Because if you're 6 feet, you don't have to tell people, coming from somebody that's over 6 feet.
Oh, sick, dude.
All right, let's do. Wait, we can't really do a community parlay. There's only 5. What about a community top bet? We do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody in the Discord hates my Baltimore bet, so I might.
Really? I like it.
I might add a little bit more to it, a little bit. Just maybe a little run line action. On the run line.
On the run line.
I'm just kidding, guys. Don't fall. I'm just kidding.
All right, Guardians money line, Braves money line. Even though a lot of people bet the Marlins. Cubs money line.
How tall is Andy?
I'm not good with that kind of shit. I guess like
Andy, how tall are you?
5'9", 5'10". Oh, that's right. You've never met. That's right. You've never met.
He's the only one I've never seen.
I was gonna say, like, you've met him, but I guess you haven't.
Kyle, you said you're having a party when you get 100K subscribers.
Yeah, I think September 29th or 30th, whatever that football Sunday is. So if you guys want to come to the Jers,
that's 2 weeks before my wedding. I don't know if I can swing that, but I want to come and just have a measuring tape next to me that says 6 feet on exactly the top of my head.
Yeah, it's a football Sunday. We're doing I'm having a big tournament of sorts in the.
Wait, when is it?
Sundays. It's like September 29th or September 30th, I think.
I can't go.
Really? Why not?
My sister's getting married on that Sunday.
Your sister's so fucking selfish, dude. Getting married on that Sunday.
I'm a little bit pissed off now because.
Yeah, 100K.
I'll see what I can do.
100K Selly.
Yo, you gotta push that back a week, bro.
I haven't actually sent the invites yet. That's what I was thinking about doing. All right, so it's Royals or, because this one wasn't included, it's going to be Royals. So the top bet is Royals. Who cares? Community top bets are minus 168. like, disregard it. How about that?
Oh, my gosh. Just roasting.
I love it. Beaver, tell me what to bet in the NFL.
Someone's saying sister is getting married to Modi.
Oh, I can see how they said that. Touche.
No,
all right.
So that's 2 weeks later.
All right, Toast. I'll talk to you later.
Have a good night, guys.
Let's bring him on. Property, did you just make a noise? Did you guys hear that? He was like,
Well, I thought he was reading the comment from Daniel. I don't want to say it out loud.
Seems like that type of cat.
All right. All right.
Oh my gosh.
Next up, we're talking new. We're talking New England Patriots. So we got Patriots. Over 4.5 wins. Patriots under 4.5 wins.
Get it together, Kyle.
I know. Anyway. All right. Prop Beaver, you wanted to come on and talk about your division rivals. True or false, the Patriots are the worst team in the NFL?
I don't believe that's necessarily true. I don't have like the smallest of hopes for this Patriots team. I guess that's a weird way to word that. But yeah, when we're looking at this over-under for the Patriots, I know a lot of people are looking at this Patriots roster. I mean, on the offensive side of the ball, Jesus Christ, not much talent to be had here, but I don't think it's as bleak as people are looking at it to be. Alex Van Pelt is coming over from Cleveland. He's going to be taking over as the offensive coordinator. Van Pelt served as the Browns offensive coordinator from 2020 to 2023. Now, it's not like Cleveland fired him or anything. So Why did he come over to New England? Well, this is going to be his first gig as the play caller. He was not the play caller in Cleveland. That was Kevin Stefanski. So what can we really expect from Van Pelt? Well, I don't really know. Drew Petzing was under Stefanski in Cleveland. He was also under Van Pelt. He was, he was a QB coach, also a tight end coach. He was the offensive coordinator for the Cardinals last year, and he did pretty good with Arizona. He didn't have a whole lot to work with. I mean, who was like the number one wide receiver over there? He had Marquise Brown, who eventually got injured halfway through the season. Michael Wilson. Rondale Moore. I mean, that was not a really good offense over there, and he showed a lot of. Yeah, the Dorchinator, and he showed a lot of creativity over there. By the time that Kyler Murray came back, they were over the 0% mark in terms of DVOA. So maybe Van Pelt isn't that bad of a play caller here. And on top of that, something interesting that I found is that Jacoby Brissett actually had his best season with Van Pelt as his coordinator in 2022. Let's not forget that. So they have some familiarity here together. Now, last season, I don't know what the hell this dude Belichick was doing as a GM. I mean, it almost seems like they were trying to put together the worst offense possible. One thing I do like this offseason is that they brought in 2 receivers now in the forms of rookies. Jalen Polk out of Washington and Javon Baker out of UCF. If you guys are following anything that's coming out of camp thus far, Jalen Polk has been the talk out of camp. Every single thing that I'm hearing out of camp is Jalen Polk, Jalen Polk, Jalen Polk. This dude has been phenomenal thus far. I believe they had like a heavy formation earlier today, and he was the lone receiver on the field. So they're expecting some heavy things out of Jalen Polk right out of the gate. So if you're a fantasy guy, you're looking for a sleeper, potentially a guy who is going to be in those 2 wide receiver sets right out of the gate, Jalen Polk's a guy you may want to look at in those late rounds. And then Javon Baker, he's a guy who exploded after transferring from Bama to UCF, 21.9 yards per reception after he went from Bama to UCF those final 2 seasons. So there's a lot of upside there as well. I just think that the offense, while it's probably going to be bottom 5,
it can't be worse.
I think that it can't possibly be worse than it was the last 2 seasons. And with Ramondre Stevenson coming off the worst season of his career last season, he has to be in a bit of an upgrade. I think that there's going to be a bit of improvement on the offensive side of the ball, actually.
Okay. Here's Prop Beaver's almighty flaw when analyzing teams in the offseason. He's very positive, and he always sees the optimism. And yes, the Patriots may be improved, but who are they better than? That's the question. Who are they better than? Who in the AFC? Who are they better than? Because in order for them to win, if we're going to say they're going to win 5 games, we got to put them ahead. I think
you look at things completely incorrectly. I'm not trying to play that game. I'm just trying to play that will they win 5 games? And I think that they will win 5 games.
Against who?
That doesn't matter to me.
What?
It's will they win? The game is will they win 5 games? I don't have to figure out who they will win 5 games against.
But what you're missing is there's going to be at least 2 teams that win less than 5 games. There always is.
Okay.
So if you look at every single team, you're like, no, they'll win 5. They'll win 5. You're wrong a couple times.
No, there are teams that I think are worse than the Patriots. I don't need to reveal that to you. I don't need to reveal that to you right now, boss.
All right. So Prop Beaver thinks they win 5 games. Modai?
So what? 4.5. I would probably take the over. I feel like, I agree with you that 2 teams will win fewer than 4.5 games. But the problem is, like, if you just blanketly say, like if you're telling me 2 of 32 teams, then the odds are that each individual team is going to win more than 4.5 games. You know what I mean? Like, you're just playing the math there. If you just take the over on every single 4.5, more often than not, you're going to be right. What teams are worse than the Patriots? I think the Broncos are going to be trash. I don't know if they'll be worse than the Patriots. I'm not a Bo Nix guy. I'm not a Sean Payton guy. What has he had done without Drew Brees?
Broncos are a 500 team last year, though. I don't know. Sean Payton's second year. I mean, I'm not saying the Broncos are going to be good, but if you give me a choice, Broncos or Patriots.
I'm also not I'm not a Titans guy. I'm not saying they're going to win 4 games, but I'm not a Titans guy. I'm not a Will Levis guy.
I'm not a Titans guy either.
Yeah, I'm not a Will Levis guy.
I'm going to do a poll right now. Worst team in the AFC. I'm going to put.
I mean, I agree that the AFC is tough, and I do think that Patriots,
if I remember
Titans,
correctly, they have the Broncos. Who would be the fourth one in consideration of that?
I mean, the Patriots have the second hardest strength of schedule, so that like their division is tough. The AFC is tough. I'm definitely not saying that.
Raiders would be the fourth team probably. Even though I think most people think they're going to improve, but I think if we had to pick 4 to put in this poll, it would be who is the worst team in the AFC? Because I kind of think it's either Patriots or Titans.
I think it would be the Raiders.
But the Raiders look pretty good. They had the best defense in the NFL when what's his name took over.
Antonio Pierce.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like I don't know. How often does that like testosterone hard-nosed football?
Yeah, I agree.
I really think that was more so just like literally just it was like momentum and just like exactly testosterone as mode I put it of just getting that piece of shit McDaniel out of the locker room like, oh, finally we don't have to see this fuck anymore. I mean, down the stretch, who do they play? Here's this Raiders schedule, by the way. They played Minnesota with Josh Dobbs, super dope. Easton Stick, super dope. Mahomes, I'll give you that, cool. The Colts, and then the Denver Broncos. I mean, they didn't play anybody. So this Raiders defense, like that's shutting teams down, they didn't play anybody. I don't think that team's good at all whatsoever.
I think that's a solid take. And if you had brought that up when I asked, I would have been like, yeah, I could see that. I wasn't asking as if prove me wrong. I was genuinely asking.
I think the problem is though when you're trying to like mathematically like calculate this like win total, it's like, okay, well I think they're gonna win this game and this game and this game. No, see, I feel like that's dumb. I feel like don't try and do it like that. I feel like that's what I used to do with like K props and shit, and I used to lose at a much higher rate than being like, okay, just like look at the lineup as a whole and just try and figure it out. I just looking at the schedule as a whole and just like looking at everything, I just think that this defenses win games. Like Aaron Schatz and their projection, they have this offense ranked 30th, dead last. You know how many games they have them projected to win this season? 7, because they have the defense is 3rd. I don't think they're going to be the 3rd best defense. I think that's a bit crazy, but this defense was, I think, 2nd last season, and they didn't have their top 3 players. They didn't have Christian Gonzalez. They didn't have Marcus Jones. They didn't have Matthew Judon.
They had Belichick, though.
Okay, so let's just say they get rid of Belichick, right?
They did get rid of Belichick.
Well, they got rid of Belichick. Let's say they go from 2nd to now 10th in defense. They also are getting rid of the offensive cancer, I believe. I mean, Belichick was putting this offense
at the end,
in the worst possible position to succeed every single year. I mean, Jesus Christ.
At the end, the last few years, not every single year.
What the fuck was he doing?
I mean, I agree with you. But you're saying, okay, so last year they won 4 games. And you're saying, well, what if their defense drops back to 10th? Like, if you're well, that offense better take a pretty significant jump.
What if the offense improves to like 24th or 25th?
I don't know. I think it'd be under.
I mean, you're getting a pretty good price on the under, but I mean, I don't think that losing Belichick is that big of a deal. I mean, again, what has Belichick done without Brady? It's like I feel like these head coaches, you see like Mike Tomlin, year after year they win 9 games and their quarterbacks have been shit.
Hold on though, I'm not like a huge Belichick apologist or anything, but Belichick is defensive coach and they still had the number 2 defense in football last year, despite all the injuries. Yeah. So I mean that's at least some kind of positive testament there.
Yeah, for sure. The defensively, but also they kept Draw Mayo is on the coaching staff. Like maybe he's not going to be as good as Belichick, but he could easily be a good defensive head coach. Like DeMeco Ryans, different person, but like former NFL player, awesome defensive mind, has like made the Texans defense respectable with not a lot of talent. The Patriots do have talent. And like I said, Draw Mayo was there and was Belichick's guy.
I feel like there's a recent example of this where we've seen like a respected head coach where if they like moved on from that respected head coach, it was like, oh shit, is there going to be this massive fall off? And there wasn't. And it was like, oh wow, holy shit. Thank God they moved on from that coach. Things are okay. You can breathe. Like, I can't remember this fucking example.
Probably for a team, someone brought it up in the comments, a team that we probably, maybe not quite as bad as these teams, but a team you could throw in there with all the receivers gone. What are the Chargers like?
No, I don't know. The Chargers are so tough for me to read. It's like, are the Chargers going to be this team that like, I don't know, man.
Well, we'll get to the Chargers on another day.
Yeah.
All right. So I would lean towards the under here. I'm not going to bet this one because it's juiced. If you want to take the over 4.5 for the Patriots, it's juiced heavy, -150. So. Mm-hmm. Which tells us odds makers have them at about 5 wins. which is kind of what Prop Beaver and Modi are saying. They have him to get 5. So, all right.
Defense wins games.
As far as this poll, 50% of you, I said worst team in the AFC. It was a blowout win for the Patriots. Most of you said New England is the worst team in the AFC. I think I would agree with the poll. Throw a slight honorable mention to Tennessee in there.
They could be the worst team in the AFC and still win 5 games.
I don't know about that. I don't think so. Has that ever happened? The worst team in the conference wins 5 games? I don't think so.
I mean, the
especially because the AFC is pretty top heavy. You know, the Chiefs are gonna. You know, like there's teams. The Ravens are gonna win 13 or 14. You know, there's the AFC is pretty top heavy.
Yeah, it is. I'm just saying the NFC could have 2 teams that don't win more than 5 games.
Possibly, but all right,
they could have 3.
Let's talk some college football. It'll just be me and Andy for that one. So this is probably when most of the viewers leave. Modi, have a good night, man. Prop Beaver, I'll see you. You're coming over, right?
Yeah, one thing I do want to say though, right before we leave, so the worst team in the conference a lot of the time does not get that 5th win. The second worst team though, a lot of time does get that 5th win. I don't think the Patriots are going to be the worst team in the conference. I think they'll be the second worst. God bless you, everybody. Have a good night.
Oh yeah. Oh, you want to do your underdog?
And the underdog.
Okay.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Andy.
I would have forgot. And where did you put that? You emailed it to me, right?
Yes.
So Prop Beaver has an NFL underdog to share with us.
Yes. I wish they had the Polk dog up here, but they don't.
They don't have Polks up?
They don't have Polk.
Dude,
so
you're a buyer on Jalen Polk, huh?
I'm a big time buyer. When the price is less than a Snickers bar, yeah, I'm willing to buy in.
Snickers are expensive, bro. Inflation.
Yeah, I know.
Inflation.
Mars and companies really got to lower those prices. So yes, for instead of going with Polk, I'll just take the other person I like in this offense, Hunter Henry. So, Stefanski and Petzing, those are 2 guys who love to use those tight ends. I mean, McBride and Njoku both had massive years last year. Let's see if that translates with the third guy from that offensive tree right here with Van Pelt. Let's see if Hunter Henry can go over those receiving yards mark. I believe it'd be for the 4th or 5th season in a row now. There's just not that much in terms of receiving competition either. I mean, yeah, there's a lot in terms of names, but in terms of actual talent, nobody. So, I think that Hunter Henry can go over the mark here. Yeah. Hunter Henry higher than 399.5 receiving yards.
All right, gentlemen, have a good day. Me and Andy are about to dive into the Central Michigan Chippewas. Let's talk real football. Later.
See you guys.
All right. So, for some reason, this camera is like off center. Whatever, fix it real quick. There we go. Oh, no, it's not. It's fine.
There I am.
All right, Chippewas.
The Chippewas. Real quick, you guys didn't go through the Patriots schedule. I'm gonna go to Prop Beaver and tell him, give me 5 games they're winning. Their schedule's horrendously hard.
Really?
Yeah, I just read through their schedule. There's maybe like 2 or 3 games where they'll be like close.
Then why? Okay. If that's the case, and everyone's perceiving the Patriots to be so bad, why is their win total 4.5 juiced heavily towards the over?
Their defense was that good. People think that they're going to keep them in that game. Maybe
people are wrong. You're saying people are wrong.
Maybe people think Drake May is going to come in and make a huge impact. I don't see either of those.
So you're thinking Proper Beaver's wrong?
I do, and I didn't want to chime. I know you don't like when people talk to people that aren't on camera, so I didn't want to chime in. But I thought, look at this. He was saying like he doesn't look at the schedule before he bets these. That's insane. You have to.
All right, hold on. Let me bring let's get some graphics up for this. So we have Patriots. I need to switch these to Central Michigan graphics. All right. So while I'm getting the graphics up, I guess we'll start with how Central Michigan finished last year.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
5-7 record last year. 3-5 in the MAC. Jim McElwain's back at head coach, obviously. Preseason ranked 8th in the conference. Their beta ranks on offense, they were 100th. On defense, they were 122nd. They obviously didn't play in a bowl game.
All right. So I kind of like Central Michigan this year. So they're going to be able to run the ball. Like Andy said, McElwain's back. And although he's if you look at his coaching history, he's got some experience as a quarterback coach, wide receiver coach. But if you look at his resume, the teams he's coached are running the football. Even when he was with Florida, they had Will Grier. He could throw the ball. They were running it. They had another year where who's the other quarterback they had?
Felipe Franks.
Felipe Franks. Holy shit,
yeah.
Good memory. Yeah, they have Felipe Franks. He was running the ball that year. So this is a coach that has showed us he is down to run the ball. Certainly was running the ball last year. They're bringing back 3 starters on the offensive line. They got the running backs back. The quarterback that's going to be starting is Burt Emanuel. He wasn't the starter last year, but they did a split quarterback system. This dude got a lot of time last year, and he's fast as all hell. So Central Michigan will be able to run the football 100%. I question whether they're going to be able to throw it. Well, didn't they brought in a quarterback transfer though that you said might be pretty from Iowa?
From Iowa, typical Iowa, you can't really look at their quarterbacks and be like, hey, you're going to be good or hey, you're going to be bad because like they don't play offense. So like you never know with those guys. He's a better thrower than he is a runner. So I think it'll
trying to do the same thing they did last year with Bauer and have a split quarterback.
That was my thing, and I think that was part of their problem last year. I mean, they didn't make a bowl game, so clearly it wasn't a very successful season. All they could do was run, but they never truly sold out and just became a running team. Like, they were doing it plenty, but when you have Bauer, you want to throw it. If they're starting Burt Emanuel, he is not developed as a passer at all. So he can't throw the football. Then just sell out and do options and stuff like that. They never did that, and I think that's part of their problem. They didn't really have an identity last year. So if they're going to start Lebas, as I believe how you say it, Lebas, whatever.
I thought it was Lebas.
I don't know, weird. If they're going to start him, then they're kind of going through the same motions they did last year where they're going in and out on a different quarterback. And I've always said, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have a quarterback. You need to have one guy you're set on. And I think that should be a manual for this team. Fully sell out, be a running team. We'll see what their O-line is, but they had a really good run blocking team. Their run blocking was great last year, not great pass blocking. But if you're good at something, just do it. And I think Central Michigan's rush attack needs to be focused on this year.
Well, I think part of the reason, so I hear what you're saying. I think part of the reason that they weren't able to make that split offense work was Chase Bauer being a freshman.
That was part of it.
So what year is this guy Lebas from Iowa? He is a year.
I believe this is a graduate. He played in games the last 2 seasons at Iowa, so he has some experience. I mean, he was never their starter, but he started a few, but he was never like the true guy there. So he's played in some games.
So I mean, he was with Iowa back in 2022. So this is a dude he
was on the bench all last year. That's part of it. That's saying something because Iowa went through 3 quarterbacks last year, and he won one of them.
Yeah, they didn't even give him a chance.
They went to Deacon Hill before they went to him. So like that's part of that. That's why I think Emmanuel's the full go here.
But regardless, I think the offense should be improved. Because I think the running game's going to get even more dynamic, and I think Chase Bauer as a freshman just wasn't it. I expect Chase Bauer to take a step forward this year, but I think Lebas could give you at the very least what Bauer gave us last year. So I think the offense will be slightly improved. Here's the problem: the whole defensive line gutted. Their best defensive player was that kid Bristol. He's gone. Where's he at now? Oh no, I believe he's at Detroit Lions camp right now.
Yeah, Bristol graduated. He's in the NFL.
Yeah, he's trying out for the Lions or something. Now here, Phil Steele in his book said they brought in 4 transfers on the defensive line, but I couldn't find them.
Yeah, Jaden Davis. I'm looking for right now because
Jaden Davis is from. No, he's from. I found him. Shit. What the fuck?
He was on. It looks like he was on the team last year. Didn't play much. But like some of these guys, they brought in their smaller transfers. They did bring in a corner from Iowa who didn't get a lot of playing time last year. If you bring in a defensive player from Iowa, that immediately raises my eyebrows because everybody that gets recruited to Iowa is usually pretty talented defensively. The fact that they're not returning anything really for a defense that was really bad shows me that they better have brought in good additions, and I don't see it, but more power to them if they think they did. I don't see it, though.
Yeah, they brought in – the defensive line's going to be gutted, and I don't know how many stops they're going to make, but they're going to put up some points. So, overs for Central Michigan. Let's go ahead and do the win-loss game, your favorite game.
I have actually their under. Interesting enough. I think it's going to come down to early on in the season. There's a game in there that we might disagree on. I'm a little higher on this team than other people are.
1 sec. I need to go get
But
this window
there's a
capture.
game in there.
Okay, so
I think it'll be the difference between them being bowl eligible and not being bowl eligible, and hitting their over and not hitting their over.
okay, so let's see what game you're talking about here. Central Connecticut's a win.
Yeah, it wasn't that one, that's for sure. I think they beat FIU. Road game,
hold on 1
FIU.
Let me get it so they can see the whole thing. What the hell? All right, whatever. They can see it here. So, yeah, they probably beat FIU. If they lose to FIU, that's a problem.
Yeah, that'd be an issue.
So win, loss,
Loss at Illinois.
win
Against Ball State.
This
That's the one to me.
They're gonna lose.
I don't think they win it. I have them losing it, but it is a home game against a team from the West Coast. San Diego State, fully new coaching staff, pretty much a new team. I'm a little higher on them than most people are. So I have that. This is a loss, but I understand that this could be a toss-up for some people.
So let's say 3-2. This is winnable.
Yeah, Ohio is winnable. It's their homecoming game for a reason. It's their worst home game. I don't necessarily see them winning that. I like Ohio's offense.
Ohio's rushing offense, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Their running backs are sick. They have a 2 running back system that's going to run through.
The Rourke's gone, and they lost their 6 leading receivers. We're going to talk about Ohio next, actually. That game, I'm taking the over, regardless of what it is.
Oh, yeah. That's going to be a high-scoring game. Yeah.
They can beat Eastern Michigan.
Yeah,
right?
Eastern Michigan's a very winnable game for every MAC team, besides like 1.
So 1, 2, 3, possibly 4 wins. This will be 5 wins.
I think the losing stretch starts here.
1, 2, 3 losses.
Western Michigan, I have as a win. I have them at 5 wins. So I had
no way. Western Michigan is a loss. This is a
home
loss.
game, middle of the week. Western Michigan. We'll see what they are. I think that could be a win.
All right, so you have them at 6.
Match.
I would say 5.
I'm at 5.
Oh, then you have the under.
Yeah, I have the under. This team's solely going to come down to if they're just willing to sell and go completely to the run. Then I think they'll be successful. Defense has to be better. They didn't bring in a ton of additions, but it's Jim McElwain. He's been there. He's been there for a while, but he's been around the block. He was in the SEC, so you never know what he has up his sleeve. But if they're not good this year, he'll probably not be there anymore.
All right, next up, let's talk Ohio Bobcats, and we briefly mentioned it. Ohio's defense last year, insane. It was awesome. But 1 sec, let me go ahead and we got Ohio over 6.5 wins. They had the best defense in the MAC, one of the best defenses in the country. Now, obviously, they play a MAC schedule, but their defense was truly nuts. And all right, so I actually want to start on this one. Okay. I have a lot of thoughts about Ohio this year.
You want me to recap what they did last year real quick?
Yeah, give them a quick recap.
They were 10-3, 6-2 in the MAC. They won the Myrtle Beach Bowl 41-21. Tim Albin's back for his 4th year. He's 23-16 in his 3 years prior. They're ranked 8th in the preseason ranking.
Okay, so Ohio Bobcats. Now they bring back the same head coach. OC's gone. Or no, actually both coordinators are gone, right? The DC is now the D-line coach at Memphis. Unclear why he left. I think just to upgrade the program he's working with. I thought DC would be
probably paid more, to be honest.
I thought being a defensive coordinator at a top 25 defense last year would have garnered him a better job than a D-line coach at Memphis, personally. But whatever.
Probably.
So they upgraded John Hauser to be the DC. He was the safeties coach last year. So when you first look at this team, Ohio, they lose Curtis Rourke, who now plays for Indiana through the transfer portal. They lose their top 6 receivers. So they lost their quarterback. They lost their top 6 receivers. And they lost 3 starters on the offensive line. But here's the thing. 7 of their top 10 offensive linemen are back. So even though they did lose 3 starters, I expect that offensive line to be fine. And like Andy said, their running backs, they brought back both of their running backs and added one in the portal. So they have a very dynamic RB room with an offensive line I expect to be good. So even though this is a team powered by their defense last year, and they lost their quarterback and receiver. So at first glance, you might think, this offense is going to be even worse. I expect them to be a really dynamic rushing attack here. And you know what? We kind of saw it in the Myrtle Beach Bowl. And trust me, I should know more than anyone. I bet Georgia Southern in that game and thinking, Rourke's not playing. This offense is going to suck in this game. They ran the ball all over Georgia Southern, kind of gave us a sneak peek of what their offense is going to be this year. 232 rushing yards on 5 yards per carry. So I think the Ohio rushing attack is going to be good. I think the offense is going to be improved from last year despite losing the quarterback and receivers. That being said, what does this Ohio Bobcats team look like without its defense? Because that was the backbone of their team last year was the defense. And like I mentioned, they have a new defensive coordinator. Defensive line is smoked. They lost basically everybody on the defensive line. Everyone's gone. Linebackers also smoked. They lost pretty much all their linebackers. Their top 3, I'm pretty sure. Now, I will say they should be okay in the secondary. They're bringing most of their secondary back. They lost 3 of their top 6, but they brought in a couple guys through the portal. So the pass defense should still be okay, but the defensive front for Ohio, gutted. Yeah. So I even though I expect the offense to be better, defense should take a huge step back.
Yeah, honestly, I feel very similar to you. I think their offense is very similar to the team we just talked about, Central Michigan. They're going to literally just want to run the ball every play. I think Parker Navarro, we'll see. He's young, but maybe he has an arm on him, but we don't know that coming in. What we do know is these running backs are sick, and they probably have the best running back duo in not only in the conference, but in the upper half of the country, maybe, because these guys were really good. And this freshman they brought in too is crazy. I think they're gonna have a top tier running backs. Who knows what their pass is gonna be? And defensively, even if they had brought everybody back, I would have probably been like, well, they probably can't replicate that defensive season because it was that good. But not bringing anybody back scares me a little bit. That's when I first saw the schedule before I had even looked into Ohio at all, I was like, hey, that first game, I'm like, that's maybe an upset alert. A MAC team always pulls an upset. But I just think the defense doesn't have anything back from next year, so I could see a slow start here, week 1, week 2. Just not bringing anybody back on defense scares me. Like you said, their O-line will be fine. Their rushing is going to be great. They're going to score. I think they're going to score a lot of points, put up a lot of good stats rushing. We'll see what their passing is. To me, that really doesn't matter that much because I think they're going to be run so well. But their defense is going to be a complete transformation.
Yeah, and you can see for the returning production, it looks bad. It's not. The 4 defensive returning production, they're all in the secondary. Well, no, there's one linebacker coming back, but the front 7 crushed. So they lost a lot of people. Parker Navarro did get some looks last year, but you know what I liked is we saw in the Myrtle Beach Bowl, Parker Navarro got the start because Curtis Rourke sat out or he might have been hurt. And all they did was run the ball, which is, I think, kind of, like I said, a sneak preview. So, all right, let's go ahead and look at the schedule.
Yeah, I think Rourke was already in the portal.
Yeah, I think he was too. I think
he was immediately in the portal.
All right, so let's go ahead and get the schedule on the screen. Ohio Bobcats. So, game 1, Syracuse, loss.
Yeah, that's a loss.
South Alabama, I haven't looked at them yet.
That should be a win. South Alabama
is winnable. Okay.
Yeah, that's a win. Oregon State, they're gonna crush. Kentucky's a loss.
So 2-2. Win.
Akron's a win. Homecoming game, that's a win.
3-2. Loss.
Back-to-back losses. Central Michigan, Miami of Ohio.
So
then I got them winning 3 straight.
Win.
Favorable schedule.
All right, so hold on. That puts us at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wins, but then loss, win. Oh, that's
I got
only
them
6.
Winning against yeah.
Oh my God.
I have them at 6 wins. So, yeah, I mean, look, week 1, I'd love to tell you this could be the MAC team that pulls an upset this year, but Syracuse has just such an energy right now that I think everybody's kind of talking about to the point where I don't think they could pull that one. That would be the difference to me because they're not going into Kentucky and winning that game. They're probably not beating Miami of Ohio. They're the best team in this conference. So there's just not an upset on here that I could see.
Miami, Ohio is not the best team in this conference. Northern Illinois.
They're preseason ranked number 1.
Oh.
I guess I would lean on.
I also think they could lose that South Alabama game too. So
yeah, there's games that I could see in a perfect world I could see them steal, but there's also games I could see them getting stolen. So
Northern Illinois, this is who I think is the best team in the MAC.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Let's see. Where were they ranked?
The problem is they have a tougher schedule. That's why the win total's at 6.5, because they definitely have a tough schedule.
Yeah, they do this a lot. They like to play really good teams in the non-conference, and I personally don't get it, but
they love it.
They do.
And who are we to judge? All right, so let's go ahead and bring the graphics over. I'll get some Northern Illinois graphics rolling. And instead of me trying to like flip through and figure out what we're talking about, I'm just gonna like put it on a slideshow and let it play. I feel like that's the best way.
Yeah, this team was 7-6 last year. Played in the Camellia Bowl. Thomas Hancock's back for year 6. Veteran coaches in this conference. Tied for 3rd in the preseason ranking. So that's pretty high. It's pretty high up for them.
All right. Northern Illinois. So they bring back the same coaching staff. Now, I noticed that in our spreadsheets, Andy, you had put you didn't put Macon as the starting quarterback, or McCann, or I don't know how to say his name. M-A-C-N.
No, I have Ethan Hampton.
I think Ethan Hampton is technically the starter right now, but I read an article that kid Macon or whatever actually might start, the transfer from Pine Bluff. The point is they have options at quarterback, and Rocky Lombardi really underperformed last year anyway.
Yeah, that I thought him leaving was like, well, obviously
exactly like
it was like whatever. Like, they needed to move on.
Yeah, they needed to move on from Rocky Lombardi. So I'm not worried about losing Rocky Lombardi at quarterback. They needed to move on from that, and I think they have a couple viable options at quarterback. So I'm not really worried about that. Other than that, there's a lot of returning talent here for Northern Illinois. Let's go. You know what? Let me go find the returning production graphic. Boom. For a MAC school, that's a lot. I mean, 16 returning starters, 8 offensively, 8 defensively. All top 3 rushers are back. Top 3 running backs are back. Top 2 wide receivers are back. The offensive. So check this out. Technically, the offensive line lost 2 starters from last year, but the one guy, what's his name? Zernitz? He was a starter.
Right.
Yeah, Zernitz. He was a starter last year, but missed the entire season with an injury. He's there. So, yeah, they lost 2 starters from last year, but in reality, they're bringing back 4 starters because he is now healthy. So the offensive line should be in really good shape. I believe Phil Steele called this what he thinks is the best offensive line in the conference.
Yeah, I wrote that. I literally said Phil Steele calls this the best O-line in the conference. So.
Offensive line should be good. Experienced running back room, 2 top receivers returning. So, I mean, even with a new quarterback, I expect Northern Illinois to put up some points. I think they're going to be fine. As long as the quarterback play is decent, this should be a good offense in this conference. On the other side, defensive line is pretty loaded. They did lose their best defensive lineman, their first team defensive tackle. I forget his name, but he's gone. But other than that, they bring back almost everybody. They lost a few linebackers, but they added a few in the portal. So the linebacking core should be just as good as it was last year. And the secondary should be good. They lose 1 starter, but they're pretty much bringing everyone else back. So this team should be really good. An experienced coaching staff. I like Northern Illinois. Best team in the MAC.
I agree with you 100%. I think you kind of glossed over the fact they ran the ball really well last year, averaging 5 yards per carry the last 3 seasons, and their top 3 rushers are back. So, like, that's going to happen again. Like you said, slightly better quarterback play from whoever it is. The kid from Arkansas, Pine Bluff, barely played there, so we'll see what happens with that. I'd probably say Ethan Hampton will play more. Decent quarterback play. This team wins 7 games easily. So, I know their non-conference is hard, and they probably have 2 easy losses.
So this is where it gets – okay, so Andy's in agreement with me. This is where it gets complicated when we pull up their schedule, because you might have just heard that and thinking, oh, Northern Illinois is going to be a beast, just like I did. And then you look at their schedule, and you're like, oh, shit. Hold on, let me find Northern Illinois.
Have an easy one week 1. That's always important.
Okay, here's Northern Illinois' schedule. All right, they win. Here you go. They win 1. At Notre Dame. Fuck. Win 2. They beat Buffalo. At NC State. Shit.
No. Should beat UMass.
They'll beat UMass. 3. That's tough right here. That's tough.
On the road to Bowling Green.
Bowling Green's going to be good. I think they win this. But I'm saying by no means
they win them.
Yeah, I think Northern Illinois is the best team in the MAC. But I'm saying they'll probably be catching a 1.5 points. They'll probably be short dogs.
Yeah.
Bowling Green's supposed to be good, but I'm saying I think if I'm picking, I think they win that game. But by no means can we sit here and be like, win. Like, that's going to be tough. I'm going to count it as a win on mine. Toledo, again, I think they win.
It's another tight one. I think they win that one, but I think it's a tight one, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, at Ball State's win. I think Western Michigan's going to be good.
Middle of the week in Western Michigan. That one's a close.
In November,
that one's a close loss.
Fuck that. Yeah, that might be a loss. So how about this? Give me one of the Bowling Green or Western Michigan games. I want one of those.
That makes sense.
So I'll count the Bowling Green as a win. I'll count this as a loss. So that puts us at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Loss. There's 7. And then that's going to be tough. The schedule sucks. But they should get to 7
The road games are brutal. I mean, they really got screwed with these road games. Going on the road to Miami of Ohio and Bowling Green is very tough. Those are 2 of the top 3 teams in the conference.
And then, look, November 30th, last game of the season, at home against a team that they are better than, Central Michigan. Bro, if it's like snowing and Central Michigan can run the ball, who the fuck knows? You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those those MAC games in the snow where you're like, I don't even know what to bet in this.
Yeah.
So it's over, and I think I'm going to bet this one today. I think this might be my second college football win total bet. I already got UTEP down. I might go Northern Illinois over 6.5.
I would lean the over as well. I'm a little more bullish on the Bowling Green and Western Michigan games, but if they just win one of those, then they hit their over. For me.
I think if they win one of those,
win one of those.
If they win one of those, I think they hit 8.
Yeah, you have them. I mean, yeah, definitely.
All right, cool. So let's head on to the next team, which is Kent State. And
this is a tough one.
Yeah, you're going to have to. I didn't look at it. I'm ready to talk about Western Michigan, which is next. This is going to be a short one. For those of you that didn't follow along with us in college football last year and don't know what the situation is in Kent State, last year they brought in an entirely new coaching staff, and they lost like 21 out of 22 starters or something crazy. So last year we were making jokes all season like, what the fuck is this, like an expansion team? And so I still don't know what the feel is for this team. And when I scrolled to it in my notes, I was like, I'm not even going to waste my time. I'm not going to be betting over and under, but I do want to hear what Andy has to say about Kent State.
So like he said, they lost their coach. He went to be the OC at Colorado actually, and he got fired midseason there, but not because of his performance. He was doing fine. I promise you, he was doing fine. There was some political things there.
Yep.
He wound up getting the head coaching job at San Diego State. I just brought it up before. I love that team this year. He's a very good offensive mind. Then they bring in Kenny Burns. Like he said, nobody was back. They weren't going to win many games last year. 1-11, 0-8 in MAC play. 12th, they're ranked last in the preseason ranking, but I will shine a little bit of positive on them. They have Big Play McCray, they call him the receiver back. That's great. He could be, in theory, like a big guy, like a guy who gets 1,000+ yards or whatever. Unfortunately, I don't think he is the quarterback that's developed to the point where he'll get there. I think he could be like a 607. He had 450 yards last year. He's a big play guy. Maybe they'll have some big spots there.
The quarterback was there last year, though, Ulatowski.
Yeah, and he's not under any circumstances is he a guy that I'd trust. So, like I said, awful football team overall. They're probably going to be very bad. Their offense was literally ranked 133rd in pretty much every rushing stat last year. Couldn't run the ball at all. Their defense was no better.
Yep, 133rd on the road, 130th at home.
Yeah, if you show the defensive offensive stats, whole lot of red. Just a whole lot of red. There's so much red here. This team was not. They were bad. They didn't have a MAC caliber players. Their blocking was terrible. They were pretty much awful in everything. But everybody's now a year older, so I think they'll improve a win. But I do not, under any circumstances, am I like confident on this team winning 3 games, 4 games. Like, they may be an improved team, but they'd have to improve a hell of a lot to be even a 3 or 4 win team here, because they were that bad last year. Their only win, do you see who their only win was last year?
No, it was
the
FCS, right?
The only FBS team whose only win, a team that won a game, the only win was a non-FBS team. They beat Central Connecticut State 38-10. That is like, they were bad. They were bad last year.
To be fair, though, they probably should have beat Akron. I don't know if you
but they
remember
didn't.
that game. They
I
blew.
do.
Hold on, and I know because I bet Kent State in the game, and I was like, "Are you fucking kidding?"
I think I remember texting you like, "What the hell?"
Yeah. So Akron was up 27-10 in the fourth quarter. I mean, no. Kent State was up 27-10 in the. You know what? I have it right here. What am I even? So where's the? Here we go. So here's the game I'm talking about, and I bet Kent State. I was like, they're gonna get a win here. Right here, 27-10, Kent State in the fourth quarter. Touchdown Akron with 9 minutes left. Touchdown Akron with 3 minutes left. Touchdown Akron with 26 seconds left. And look at the final score. Akron won 31-27. I had Kent State plus 3.5. I was going to choke somebody the fuck out.
Yeah.
I'm catching 3.5. I'm up 17 points in the fourth quarter and lose. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So all right.
Yeah, but basically the way I'd wrap this team up, there's not much to say. They'll be improved because they were so bad last year, but this is a team I have their under. I think they win 2 games at the best.
Well, let's pull up the schedule. I would like to know the 2 games that you think they win.
Well, they're beating St. Francis. Their only win was to an FCS team last year. They will beat St. Francis. I also have them beating Eastern Michigan. I'm giving them that one. I think
I haven't looked at Eastern Michigan. They were so bad last year. I don't.
Yeah,
dude, this is winnable. This is winnable. Home Ball State.
Which one are you looking at? Ball State. I do think it's winnable, but they lost to them last year, so I'm still leading on the side. That is a game at home as well. So if they were gonna bounce to a third win, that would be it. But I don't see many wins after that. They also scheduled really tough playing Tennessee and Penn State.
You know what they might do? This is winnable too. They can get their revenge on Akron at home if they're blowing the lead.
Yeah, we can look at the thing is we could look at these MAC teams and be like, well, that team's bad, but Kent State's the worst. They're easily the worst in terms of roster. They are returning a lot of their offense, so we'll see.
I would go here though. I would still go over 2. I'd still say they get a third win.
Well, that's where it's juiced to, obviously, because betting a team to win 2. Yeah, betting a team to win 2 games in theory is crazy because they could run into a win that they shouldn't win. Yes. So that's
it's essentially betting them to only win 1 because they play home game against St. Francis.
Yeah.
So
imagine they lost that.
That would be hilarious. All right, so I guess if you had to pick, you would lay the -150 with a third win also.
Yeah, probably.
Now Western Michigan, and I think this could be a cool one. I think this could be a sneaky MAC team, Andy, and you're not. I don't think you're giving them the credit they deserve.
Yeah.
The problem is, I thought it was going to be like I was looking at their off season and seeing the additions they made and who they lost, and I'm like, I like this team a lot. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to go slap this over 5 wins right now. It's at 6.5. I was like, are you kidding me? So
it's a little high to me.
Way high, but it's high for a reason. I like the team, so I agree with it being at 6.5. I just wasn't expect. Oh, let me go grab the graphics. Let's get some Western.
They had a weird situation this offseason too. Their coaching.
Go ahead and let them know what Western Michigan did last year.
Yeah, this team was 4-8, 3-5 in the MAC. They didn't make a bowl game. Lance Taylor's back for year 2. They're ranked 7th in the conference preseason. They lost both their coordinators. One of them left to be the D-line coach.
But I want to say about the coordinators, and I feel you might probably don't need to mention this. They left on their own to take better opportunities. They weren't fired, and I feel like that's. It wasn't like I feel like a firing is like dysfunctional, and they leave means like other organizations like what they're doing.
That was part of it. Another thing is the guy that's their DC right now, Scott Power, wasn't supposed to be their DC. They hired somebody. He left 3 weeks after taking the job to go be the D-line coach at Michigan State. Scott Power, this is very low on their defense, mainly because of him. He got fired at La Tech because their defenses were that bad. We might have talked about him the other day.
We did talk about him.
Their defenses were that bad. He got fired, and they had no other choice but to hire him. So I'm not really high on their defense at all.
But hold on. They do... All right, so hold on. We'll get to the defense. We'll start with the offense. So let me turn the slideshow on so I have graphics rolling. Okay. I like him at quarterback. Hayden Wolf. If you don't know who that is, he was there last year. He took over the job mid-season. Not that he was particularly great, but he was okay. And what I like about him, he's coming into this season as the starter. 30 career starts, or I think it's 29 career starts under his belt. This is his 5th year. A lot of he was a on again, off again starter at Old Dominion for 3 seasons. Not many teams in the FBS have a quarterback that has 30 career starts. So one of the most experienced quarterbacks in the FBS. Gotta like that. Going into it, they get both their top running backs back, and actually their third running back, his name's Keyshawn King. He was hurt and missed most of the year last year. So they actually get their top 3 running backs back. They lost 2 starters on the offensive line, but 8 of their top 10 offensive linemen on their depth chart are back. So the offensive line should be good. In fact, Phil Steele says should be one of the best offensive lines in the conference. So we got probably the most experienced quarterback in the conference in Wolf. You got one of the best offensive lines in the conference. You got top 3 running backs back. Come on, tell me that's not a great start. That's like what you're looking for in college football. That's a lot of what you're looking for. So Western Michigan is going to score.
100%. Their offense, I love Buckley being back, 1,000-yard rusher. Not a lot of teams bringing back 1,000-yard rushers either. Like you said, veteran quarterback. Their top receiver Womack is back. That's great. They're bringing back a ton on offense. Their pass blocking, rush blocking was solid last year. The offense is very.
I kind of want to argue with you about the defense a little bit, though.
Okay. So look, for me, it's more. I mean, they weren't very good last year on defense, regardless. But a lot of a lot of the lower MAC teams weren't, obviously, because this is a good quarterback conference. But it does scare me when you bring in a guy who has a track record of being bad to the point where he got fired at a La Tech, being what they are, maybe a little bit of a better job, being fired there and then being forced to hire him. They didn't want to hire this guy, so this wasn't the defense they necessarily wanted to run.
No, it's okay. So I can't argue with that. The defensive coordinator this is like technically their third option. So like this is not the DC they wanted, and I hate that. But as far as personnel, I mean, they added some pieces on the defensive line in the portal. They brought in a kid named Popeye Williams from Louisville. I love that name. They actually added 2 kids from Louisville on the defensive line. They brought in a defensive lineman from Iowa, Ontario Thompson. So they added 3 Power 5 defensive linemen through the portal here. They're pretty much returning everybody as far as the linebackers and secondary. They're returning most of their starters. Mm-hmm. Also, I think I want to bring this up on the screen because this is what I think you forgot to look at. I think this is what people are overlooking when it comes to Western Michigan. And let me pull it up. So I'm going to put it right up on the screen. Boom. So here is Western Michigan's schedule from last season. Who's not on it, Andy?
I'm sorry, what? Who's not on it?
No Kent State, no Buffalo, no Akron.
Oh, okay. Yeah. They didn't play any of the easy
They didn't play any of the 3 easy teams from the MAC last year. Now let's switch over to this year. You got Akron at home, Buffalo, Kent State at home, all in a row. That's 3 wins. So that's 3 wins. So take their season last year and then substitute 3 of their MAC games out for Akron, Buffalo, and Kent State.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
definitely didn't look at it that way in terms of them now playing the 3 worst teams. That makes sense.
They got unlucky with their scheduling last year. They got Akron, Buffalo, Kent State all in a row.
Mm-hmm. That's makes when you look at the schedule, that does make sense. That's a way to look at it.
And you got Bethune-Cookman.
Yeah, they've got an 0-2 start, and then
what's this here? I don't know anything about Marshall. I saw you were looking at Marshall today.
I wrote toss up. I literally looked at everything from Marshall, and I'm like, I feel the same way I feel about Western Michigan about them. Like, they could be this, they could be that. They have a young coach too, Huff. I literally wrote toss because I have no idea, and so that one. Win. 3 in a row. Western Michigan, and then they're probably going to be value at an all-time high coming off 3 straight wins, and there might even be a pick 'em against NIU, and we're going to take NIU in this game. Yeah, I got 3 losses back-to-back there, actually. I think on the road at Central Michigan will be a rough one.
They can win this.
In November.
They can win look, it depends on the weather. If the weather's nice, I'll take Wolf over Emmanuel any day of the week.
Yeah, but I don't think Emmanuel is going to be throwing the football much when it's cold. They're going to be running the ball.
That's what I'm saying. If the weather's somewhat decent, I'll take Western Michigan money line in this one.
That'll be a weather. We'll have to check the weather app that day. For sure.
And then a win against
It'll be
Eastern
a snow
Michigan.
game now.
So how many definite wins? 1, 2, 3,
I've got 5.
4, 5, 6. Oh, you don't have Ball State as a one.
You have 6. I know. I have Ball State as a loss, actually.
Oh, wow. So you're going definitely under.
Yeah, I got 5-6. I have 5-6 and 1. I think they'll be 6-6. I'm leaning towards them winning that game against Marshall. Be a tight one.
I don't know enough about Marshall to, and this is what sucks because I like this team a lot. I hate their schedule.
That number sucks.
I mean, look
that
at
number and the schedule is not great.
Can we just we should just already start at week 3, 0-2, because like at Wisconsin, at Ohio, like, are you kidding me?
Time out.
Don't
Look ahead spot for Wisconsin.
Who's the Wisconsin?
They got a game. Look at who Wisconsin plays.
All right, let's see.
Who's on their schedules?
South Dakota, bro. How's that look at?
No. It's the week after.
Yeah, but this is the look
team's
at
looming.
spot.
No. That team's looming.
You're
so they know that. So wait a minute. They have a team that's easy next, right?
Then it's
So
not a
they're
look
gonna
at.
be-
Then it's not a look ahead spot. In fact,
it's a-
Western Michigan would be a tougher opponent than South Dakota. Well, actually, South Dakota's kind of nice, but this would be a
South
tougher.
Dakota sucks.
No, South
I'm
Dakota
saying
State,
They
my
know
bad.
that. They know that next week they're gonna have an easy one against South Dakota, and then obviously
That's
Alabama
the opposite
looms.
of a
I'm
look
just saying,
at spot.
Western Michigan could be one of those. That could be one of those MAC games. A MAC team is going to pull an upset. If there was a team that was going to pull an upset, who would be the one for you? This would probably be the one for me. Western Michigan to pull an upset against. They're not beating Ohio State, but they're going to beat South Dakota. But yeah, they're not beating out Ohio State, but they're beating. Could they beat Wisconsin? Sure. A MAC team's going to pull an upset. That's all I'm saying.
All right. So that's it. That's the last one. We got 2 more MAC. Tomorrow we're doing 2 more. The last 2 MAC teams, and we're doing 2 independents, UConn and UMass.
Oh yeah, UMass baby.
All right.
Don't quit 'em.
Thanks everyone for watching. Let's have ourselves a good one. Tomorrow, some better MLB action. Tonight's games really sucked. So yeah, be back tomorrow, same time, 4 p.m. Eastern time to do 15 MLB games. Then we'll go through the some more football. Talk to you guys later.
Hall of Fame game tonight too.
Yeah, who cares? All right.
All right.
See you in a little bit.
Yep.